Well, good morning, everyone. How are we doing? Good? Can I get a let's go? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Man, I am super excited to be here with you, and Liz, thank you so much for that introduction. So my name is Ben Gonzalez. I'm the Vice President of Communications for White Picket Team Management. So White Picket Team Management is a business management and consulting organization. So we specialize specifically in the field services industry. So Chorbie, being one of those partners, we have a little over 30 different service lines with that organization, specific to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We do a lot of stuff at Chorbie, so it ranges from lawn and landscape maintenance to pest control to plumbing to a lot of different things. And then beyond that, am I getting feedback? Is that just me? Oh no, oh no. Am I good? Hey, test 1, 2, 3, 4, wonderful. So the other organization is Scoop Soldiers. So Scoop Soldiers is a pet waste removal company. That's right, we scoop dog shit, and it's awesome. So Scoop Soldiers is a franchise organization. We are nationwide. We have a little over 15 different states that we're servicing, and it is a rocket and rolling organization. So I'm going to be speaking specifically about some strategies that Chorbie is implementing. And real quick, so I'm wearing a very pink hat. I'm stating the obvious right now. I don't normally wear a pink hat. I actually usually just wear a lot of black. A lot of people tell me it's like my soul, which kind of hurts a little bit. So the reason I'm wearing this, it's October. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So Chorbie right now is running a social media campaign where if we gave these hats to all of our technicians out in the field, and we asked our audience that if you take a picture of our technicians out in the field and you publish on social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever it is now, I don't know, and you use hashtag Chorbie in pink, we will be donating to the Susan G. Komen Foundation at the end of this month. So that campaign is extended to everyone here. So we had a goal of donating $1,000 by the end of this month, which we think we can easily do. And so it's $10 per post that we're going to be donating, and so we want to do $1,000 by the end of the month. So I see people, yes, that's exactly what I was hoping for. Please, take a picture of my hat, not me, and I would love it if you were to post on any social media platform, hashtag Chorbie in pink, so we can continue to donate as much as humanly possible to the end of the month. And I actually have a challenge. I did not ask for permission to do this. I'm just going to do it, and hopefully they don't kick me off stage. So I have $100 in cash. This is actual money. It's actually my money. I didn't tell my wife I was doing this, so I might get in trouble. But if someone in our entire audience here is willing to post on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, hashtag Chorbie in pink, and tag at Chorbie Home, and you find me at the end, I will give this to you. $100 in cash. Nobody? Really? Wow, I was surprised. I thought you'd get motivated by some cash. I'm going to leave this here. I want to give that to someone. Please take pictures. I want to donate really as much as possible. All right, so I'm here to talk about advertising, which is interesting because I didn't know what Mike Andes was going to be speaking about, and then he opened up with don't care about leads. I'm going to talk about leads, so that's going to be interesting. But so how many in the room here are founders of an active business right now? Raise your hand. Yeah, lots of people. So advertising, and specifically I'll be talking about digital media, it's a process of making yourself known. That's, by definition, that's what it's about. Taking time as a founder to take your phone out and start recording yourself and talk about what it is that you're doing is probably not super appealing to most founders who are spending 10, 12 hours a day either in the field or working in or on your business, hopefully on your business. But I believe that there is a tremendous impact that advertising can have for you as a founder. So I'm going to be camping out and talking more so about getting more engaged leads, and we'll go through the terminology of what engaged lead means and what the value that is for you and your business. But advertising has an impact beyond just getting leads. Advertising has an impact on converting those leads into paying customers. It has an impact on keeping them longer, and it has an impact on making them worth more. So increasing your lifetime value of that customer, that paying customer. So by definition, a lead is just someone that you can contact, someone that you can present your message to. But the barrier of entry of trust is incredibly high at that point if it's a random person. So what you want to be focused on is getting more engaged leads. We're honing down in on who it is that we're speaking to with the intent that we're building deeper trust with people. And that's what it's about, is about building trust with people. So everything Pat just talked about, this is the precursor to that point. And so your engaged leads are individuals that have shown some sort of interest in you or what it is that you offer. We'll go over a core offer and lead magnet in a moment, but engaged leads is always going to be a focus if you want to have a higher return on investment with any marketing effort that you spend. So your engaged leads are people that have shown interest. So those can be people that you know personally really well. So your friends and family and your neighbors, hopefully the ones that actually like you in a good way. But there are also those that have subscribed to your YouTube channel. They've followed you on social media. Those are those individuals that have subscribed to your email newsletter. It's people that have actually shown interest in who you are, what you do, and what your message is. That has got to be the focus if you're looking at growing your organization. And I totally skipped out on, I asked who are the founders in here. What I wanted to really get at was, of all those founders or business decision makers, who is intentional about growth in 2024? Like raise your hand if you are really intentional about growth, right? That's wonderful. The practical, really intense details, a lot of people, and Pat just talked about, and a lot of others are going to be speaking on, that's really necessary information. What I'm talking about today when it comes to leads is perspective that I want you to take a step back and look at, overarching, when you're looking at working on your business to build your brand, and it's long-term growth. It's long-term investment. Will it get direct leads tomorrow? Probably not. We'll talk a little about Google Ads. I know someone's going to be talking about Google Ads specifically here in a little bit. But again, I'm talking about an alternative perspective for you as a business owner to be thinking about if you want a an increased return on your investment in marketing for the long term. But certainly nothing happens overnight. So, prior to going out and capturing engaged leads specifically, you need to have a really solid understanding of what your core offer is. Your core offer, by definition, is the service or product that you offer in exchange for money. It's what you sell, lawn and landscaping services. But beyond that, it's also your brand. Now, your brand, if you think about it as like a bouquet of roses, each rose is a singular attribute about you. The focus for your brand should be about building, I have it in my notes here. The focus for your brand is about the tangible quality of the services that you provide to those people. It's also about the intangible associations with what your audience values. So in other words, if your audience, a specific audience that you are targeting, values trust, you should be focused on building a brand around trust and advertising that you are a trustworthy individual. If you're in the local Louisville area, what are they excited about? What do they value? Distilleries and bourbon that I learned recently in the Louisville Slugger Museum. If your audience values that, your brand should be focused about communicating that you value that also. Again, this is a long-term investment, but it takes time to actually cultivate and develop what your brand stands for. But that's part of what your core offer needs to be focused on. It's not just the product and the services that you offer, but it's also your brand and what separates you from the 10 other people that can be at that same house, offer the same service in a matter of hours or minutes. You have to understand and be able to articulate what separates you from the other 10 companies that are going to be showing up at your customer's house. It's similar to what Pat talked about. So what is your brand differentiator? What makes you different than everyone else showing up and doing the same thing? I'll give a quick example. So at Scoop Soldiers, the super fun pet waste removal company, so it's a franchise organization, meaning we are selling territories for individuals to become business owners. What we are offering our franchisees is that sales, customer service, and marketing is taken care of for them completely. Doesn't mean that they don't have an investment in it, and it doesn't mean they don't spend time on it, but it means that they don't have to be taking phone calls as soon as they purchase a franchise. It means they don't have to be actively selling constantly to generate new revenue. The corporate organization will take care of that for them. In the pet waste removal industry, that's not common. That is a brand differentiator, so it separates us from the pack when a prospective franchise candidate is looking at buying something. So for you, you have to plug in for your own business model what separates you from others. Now, if a good place to start is you. You are your brand differentiator. You are a unique individual. Yes, you offer something similar. Yes, you might be similar to other people, but you have to understand what you value the most and be able to articulate what that is in conjunction with the services and the products that you offer in exchange for money. And a little freebie, if you can get everyone in your organization and equip them to be able to articulate your core offer at scale, you're in a really prime position outside of all the other stuff that we're going to talk about to get a better return on your investment. If you have advocates for you to affiliate themselves with your brand, you're setting yourself up for success. So another common thing outside of your core offer to be focused on is understanding what a lead magnet is, which a lead magnet is just a narrow problem that you are offering a solution for free or at a low cost. So at Chorbie, our lead magnet is first mow free. Doesn't matter who you are, most of the time. Actually, there's some stipulations, but for 98% of the time, we're offering a first mow free. So that gets someone who has no idea who we are, if we push an ad or if we just talk about it, it gets them interested slightly to the point where they kind of want to go, okay, I want to learn a little bit more about Chorbie, who they are, what they do. And so it funnels them in to the point that we can then hit them with a core offer of who we are, what we do, and what separates us from the pack to get them into being a paid customer. So that's where your sales team comes in to be able to articulate that. But there's automations, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do to execute this at scale. But you as a founder, as a business owner, have to be the one that leads what your core offer is and what you're willing to offer as a lead magnet. So I did not come up with this, full disclosure. This is from an individual named Alex Hormozzi. Wrote a book called $100 Million Leads. I saw someone shaking their head. Yeah, you know who Alex Hormozzi is. He's the real deal. So when he talks about generating leads, there's 4 different categories that he's sharing that you can go and actively pursue and acquire leads. So your warm leads, those are people that you already know. So those are generally those who are already engaged, right? Those are your engaged leads. And that's usually a one-on-one conversation with that individual. So it's, hey, Jill, I saw you at the barbecue. Beautiful house. It'd look even more gorgeous with some Christmas lights. That's a one-on-one message that's personal, right? Then you have your cold leads, people who have no idea who you are and have not given you any permission to contact them. So you can go through this route by going through a broker network and buying a bunch of data, people's contact information, emails, phone numbers. For the sake of time, I don't recommend that specifically. Everyone's different. Every business is a little bit different, and that might be something to pursue. But generally speaking, it's a really tough business to go about acquiring leads that people have no idea who you are. And then you can post free content, which is where I'm going to camp out for here just for the rest of my time here in a moment. That is where you are providing free information at scale, meaning it costs you nothing. It also means that you're not paying to push it. That's where paid ad comes into play. But posting free content, in my opinion, is the foundation to warm people who have no idea who you are and get them interested in what you do. Mike Andes and his team understand that. They have invested so much time in media, and I believe it's because they understand the foundation of how it can impact new leads coming in, but it also can impact training It can impact so many different areas. So I'm going to camp out there in just a second. And then again, paid ads, which is a one-to-many communication style. So you can still be, whether it's a private conversation or whether you're posting something on social media or you're posting an ad of some kind, it's still a personal message that you have to communicate, which is, again, is where I was talking about the core offer. It's a personal message that you have to dial in. And that should be a very, very heavy focus for you as you're looking at advertising who you are and what you do. So, honestly, this was a stagger. This is a statistic. You guys know, what is that Anchorman quote? It's 60% of the time, it works all the time. That's how I feel about stats. But regardless of whether these statistics are 100% accurate or not, which I don't think they are, what you're seeing is a pattern over time. This is actually a really short period of time of 5 years. I'm not going to go into detail. But the point I want you to think, the point I want you to get with this is you should be asking yourself, where is the attention? And you should be focused on going where that attention is to advertise who you are, what you do, your core offer and or your lead magnet. So the attention is digital. The attention is social media, it's TV. So that is where Chorbie has has begun to spend a lot of our effort, resources, time, energy, is focused on creating a digital presence. And we do that initially by publishing free content and a lot of it. So there's a few people I want to note here that have had an influence on Chorbie's marketing efforts over the recent year or so. So Ali Abdaal is a YouTuber. He was a doctor actually first, and he started creating free content for medical students and beyond that. But there was one video specifically that he had that was simply about how do you start a YouTube channel. And really what we gathered from that is how willing are we to commit to going all in on creating a digital presence. And Ali Abdaal, if you guys have not heard of him, I would highly recommend him in terms of productivity, in terms of mindset for business. That guy is really interesting and someone to follow. Gary Vaynerchuk is an incredibly interesting individual. Some of the content that he has published helped us understand what is the strategy behind how we're going to execute the digital media presence that Chorbie is pursuing. So one of the things he talked about was, if you look at the landscape of all digital media, there is so much consumption happening. People want to consume information and entertainment. So if you are in a position where you are trying to advertise yourself, you've got to be able to, at scale, produce that information, produce that entertainment. So Chorbie posts 4 times a day across 7 different platforms, and about 90% of that is video. It's not just a picture of a flower or a picture of a hat. It's people, it's our people who are actually advertising who they are, what they do, and it's leading back to the core offer that we've articulated that they need to be focused on. Alex Hormozzi is a titan of the industry. He has written a couple of different books, but he has genuinely been very instrumental in establishing the tactics at which we go about actually executing what I just talked about. But as I mentioned before, so I come from construction. I used to be a project manager in commercial construction. I traveled a lot, and I worked in the field a lot. And if someone told me, hey, would you also spend extra time creating content, I would have kicked them in the shins because that's not something I really want to do. But I believe that this quote here, actually I kind of compiled a couple people saying these things, but the reality is if growth is something that you want to be focused on, I'm not saying that this philosophy is going to get you to whatever growth. It's going to be a culmination of everyone that's speaking on here and taking bits and pieces, because there's never one way to capture that success. It's based on you, your business, and trying a lot of different things. But you can't win if you don't start, and the truth is you won't really lose if you just don't stop. Everything I'm talking about takes time. You have to be patient and understand that things don't happen overnight. And yes, that might cost you time, it might cost you money, but if your intent is to grow in the long term, this is something you should be considering, is building a digital media presence. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, there's a lot of competition, but you're never going to win if you don't start. And if you just don't stop and you continually evolve, you're in a good position to actually execute on what I'm talking about here, which is to build a digital presence. So at Chorbie, we used to use a digital agency a long, long time ago. And what they were publishing was what I was just talking about. It was a flower. It was a graphic that was very generic, but there was no personality. There was no really understanding of who is Chorbie. What is it that we do? What are our methodologies? What are our philosophies? What do we care about? What do we value? There was really not a whole lot of that. And so what we decided was the best way we're going to be authentic is to just be authentic and have our people actually create the content. Our internal team members who, yes, are responsible for technicians or are technicians and are in the field all day, every day. But what we did was we created Media Club. So Media Club is not open to everyone. It's actually an exclusive club that we are hand-selecting individuals to be a part of and charge them with being a part of building the digital presence of this organization. And so we have, right now, 10 people who are in Media Club. So we use the Google platform. So we created a Google chat space, and pretty much what they're doing is taking a video of them while they're out in the field talking about whatever it is that they're doing. If they're seeing heat stress in the yard, they're going to explain what is heat stress, what are the signs, and what are the solutions. If they're seeing grub damage in a yard, they're going to talk about that. If they're seeing fascia that's decaying, they're going to talk about that. They're going to continually build a library of free information, and we will post that publicly. We're not hiding any trade secrets. EJ McCoy will be up here tomorrow. He's the founder of all of these different brands. He'll be talking about what he has done in terms of his media specifically, which he is an 8-figure business owner. He's giving away information for free. Why hold on to that? When people want information and they want to consume, if you want to compete, you need to give it. And so that is something that he's focused on. But the Chorbie Media Club is a part of that. And so what we did is we said if you are a part of Media Club, firstly, there are some qualifications, which is simply, do you have a phone and can you talk? There's not much beyond that, right? And actually, really more than anything, are you willing to be uncomfortable and be on camera? You don't need to be perfect. I genuinely believe this. We're not in an age where you need to have a DSLR camera with all the latest lighting and audio. You just need your phone and a willingness to be uncomfortable and talk about whatever it is that you're doing and share information. What that does is it makes you relatable to a point where people actually want to draw in and listen to what you have to say. So these team members, what they're doing, what we've asked them to do rather, is give us content at least 3 times a week. At least 3 times a week, take a video, which by the way, it's generally under 60 seconds. It's generally never more than a minute. It's very short. Sometimes it's 10 seconds, and that's great. But at least 3 times a week, what they're doing is just uploading their video to the Google chat space, and our marketing and media team will come in, we'll edit it, we'll organize it, and then we'll publish it, and then we'll share it back with them when we've actually executed it. So they're seeing that what they're actually doing is having an impact. And so we will gather together on a monthly basis. We'll do Topgolf, we'll do axe throwing, we'll do a lunch, we'll do something and do something fun for them and show them that what they're doing is having an impact on the organization. Again, it takes time and they understand that. But the value of being able to produce content that is authentic, it is personal, I believe will have a better impact when we go and start, which we're already doing, but when we go to publish ads, it gets someone's attention and they want to learn a little bit more. And if they see that there's a lot of information, I believe, especially if it's authentic and good quality, people are going to want to stay. And so if they're strangers, I believe that they're more likely to become an engaged lead where we can get their information and then hit them through automations to get them to convert into being a paying customer. And then we can recycle that content and share the more services that we provide. So if they start out with mowing, we can talk about lawn care with them. If they start out in pest control, we can talk about plumbing services that we offer. So drawing them in by being authentic and having a lot of information for free is having an impact on our sales. So when we look at creating content, there's 3 elements to be considerate of. By creating content where you're hooking people in, so something that's a little bit more engaging, a little bit more quippy, short, and maybe controversial, I think that's actually helpful. And I think we've got a lot of people in the landscaping industry that are not shy about being opinionated, and that's a good thing. And then creating content that is long enough that they want to continue to listen more, and there's enough information that they will continue to keep watching. And then rewarding your audience is an incredibly important aspect to keeping someone a little bit longer, but it's also engaging with your audience, asking them what do they want to see, and then actually creating content against that. I believe what that does is provides a bit of fulfillment for those audiences who want to find more. But rewarding comes when you have a reason to consume it and pay attention long enough to get that reason satisfied. And that should be a heavy focus when you're creating content. So through advertising, we can focus on increasing our engaged leads and then take everything Mike Andy said and please implement that. Oh my gosh, that was really good and incredibly important because it's not enough to just have leads. It's not enough to even have engaged leads. You have to have a process to actually execute and converting them into a paying customer. But you can use that same content to then hit them again to advertise the other stuff that you do and why you're different to keep them a little bit longer, to build trust with them. And be intentional about rewarding your audience. Keep them engaged and focus just on that. Free content is an opportunity to find, get value, and share. So meaning those that are a part of your audience, I believe that they can be advocates for you and your brand over time. But if you have 0 digital presence, you're not going to get any of that. So my encouragement to you is if you haven't started, please start. And if you start, just don't stop. Just keep going. So these 4 elements are something that White Picket Team Management focuses heavily on when we have new clients come on board. Is that how do we get more leads? How do we convert them into paying customers? How do we keep them longer? And how do we make them worth more? That is something I want to offer to anyone in this room, free consultations. I really wish I could go deep into how we structure Google Ads. How do we focus on building a depth of our brand? I don't have enough time to do that, unfortunately. But generally, we charge a couple $100 a session. I don't want to do any of that for anyone here, free. For 30 minutes or longer, please contact me. I would love to dive deeper into the details and how we actually execute this and have an impact on the businesses that we serve. You guys are awesome. I'm excited for the rest of this convention. We'll see you soon. All right, thank you guys.